Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be filming a video on the first weeks being home with my baby girl. I'm going to go back all the way to week 1 and up until now. She's already a month old on the 22nd. So I just wanted to, let you guys in on how things have been at home, especially because I do have a toddler and a newborn. So I just want to let you guys know how things have been going for me. So if you guys are interested to see this video, just keep on watching. Okay, so where do I start? The first week when I got home, the first couple of days, I have to say it was hard in terms of trying to figure out the schedule for the baby and then trying to fit my son into this new schedule where I had to also feed him for breakfast, feed her. I do have to say that I have a lot of help. I have my mom, I have my dad. I'm very, very grateful for that. My mom is a huge help. She's such a blessing, just because for the first couple of days and even up till now, she did get 2 weeks off to be home with me every single day. For the first 2 weeks, I didn't cook anything for myself. She took care of that, so she made me, my oatmeals and caldos and things like that. I will be doing a separate video on the things that I ate because it has to do with my weight loss. That's gonna be in a different video, but she cooked for me and for my boyfriend the first couple of weeks. I mean, she still does, but now, I'm able to help just because now I have a little bit more control of how things are rolling in. My boyfriend also stayed home the first whole week. He's gonna go to work not one day. We were both trying to learn how to find sleeping schedule for her because she's a newborn, so majority of the time she's gonna sleep. But since I do breastfeed, I do have to, and since I also pump, I have to, pump out milk, and then I also latch her on. And so I have to figure out how to schedule breastfeeding and pumping and everything, so I also have time to do other things with my son. Yeah, that was pretty hard, I have to admit. Having a toddler and a newborn in the same time is definitely a struggle. It's hard, it's difficult. Definitely does take a village to raise kids. I have to admit that. And I'm very grateful that my mom's and my boyfriend and everybody around me is so helpful and very patient. After the first week or so, I started getting the hang of how long she went without eating. Like, for example, every 2 hours or every 3 hours, every 4 hours, so on and so forth. So she kind of has like a mixed eating schedule, but every single time I feed her, she does, if she drinks like her whole bottle that she usually drinks, she'll be fine for like a good 3 to 4 hours. If she's doing like cluster eating, which is when they're constantly eating a little bit, she eats like every hour and a half, every 2 hours. So I kind of have an idea of that. Like, so when she eats and she's gonna be cluster eating, I know that I need to have milk ready for her within the next hour to an hour and a half, because she's gonna be eating a little bit constantly. But if she eats a full bottle of what she normally drinks, she'll go like 3 or 4 hours without eating. There's also been times where I had to like wake her up to eat just because she was going on like 5-6 hours, and they don't suggest that, especially when they're newborn, so I would have to wake her up. 8, I think that was like the hardest part. When we ate, I feel like everything was coming at once. Like, she was hungry, we were eating, and then he has to eat. So I usually like to feed my son probably 10 minutes before we actually sit down to eat, just because, he eats by himself, but like when he eats rice or something, like with a spoon, like he drops majority of it. So he's still trying to learn. I try to feed him 10-15 minutes right before I'm gonna sit down, and then when we're still sitting down, he's still eating like tortillas or whatever else we're eating, but he's already gotten majority of his food intake in his stomach. So that's what I like to do. So that was the hardest part for me. I feel like still be involved in my son, even though I had a newborn. Even though she does sleep a lot, but she does require attention. She does, have to pump, and breastfeeding is like a full-time job. That's like a whole nother job. Yeah, so it was definitely hard. And there was a lot of baby blues. Like I still have baby blues right now, and she's already a month old, where I just felt like I couldn't do it. Like I felt like it was so much, you know, so much to do. And having a newborn is difficult on its own. So just all these other things makes it so much harder. So I usually have a schedule of the days that I wash and things like that. So I still had, on Mondays, for example, I wash majority of my clothes, which is like my clothes, towels, if I have to wash sheets, and then I would wash one of the kids' clothes, and then the next day I would wash the other kids' clothes, just because I hang dry their clothes, so I don't dry them. So I have to hang every one of them's up, and then the next day when the other one's dry, I hang the other baby's clothes. So it's definitely a process. I feel like third, fourth week, it was much more easier. Once my mom went back to work, which was the third week, I felt like in the beginning it was easy, and then I felt like everything was going fine. And then when I had to do it all alone, just because I was here by myself and my boyfriend went to work, everybody went to work, the morning was so stressful. It was like I was eating like at noon for breakfast, just because things were not falling into place, right? Like everything was just too much. And in the morning, I've noticed my daughter, she cluster eats. So that was when I was like, what's going on? Like she just ate, she's still hungry. So then I had to feed her again. And then my son, once he opens his eyes, the first thing that I do is brush his teeth, change his diaper, and he's ready to eat. Like he'll go to the kitchen by himself, and I know he's hungry. So I don't like to give him milk in the morning, just because I want him to eat food. So I was trying not to do that, you know, not to just give him milk just so he can settle for the meantime. It's so hard, you know, trying to figure that out. And I feel like now that she's a month old, I finally got that down, but it does take time. And then in terms of like the baby, now she gets bathed. So I feel like when she gets bathed, you know, she sleeps very good at night. And I feel like now she's used to it. Like now, if she doesn't get a bath, she's very like fussy, like very inquieta, like she's just not comfortable. So then we bathe her, and then that was another struggle because my son loves to shower. So I'll have to shower them at the same time pretty much. So when I shower her, which my mom helps me shower her because she was so small, and I feel like, you know, I'm gonna hurt her. When we shower her, we throw him in the shower, let him be in the shower for a little bit while we get her situated. You know, her shower is very short. It's just a little like, you know, scrub her hair, put some water, and then she's done. And then you change her. So her shower's pretty fast. And then she's good to go. Process itself takes like about an hour. So it's definitely getting to know your kids, knowing your limits. You definitely realize how strong you have to be, how weak you're gonna be, how like all your emotions, everything that you never thought of comes into play. And that's definitely something I learned with my son in the beginning as well. When I had him, patience was something that I learned that I had to have. And, you know, not being able to sleep, you know, 7-8 hours at night, where I had to wake up to feed him, that was something that I had to learn because I was a first time mom with him. So with her, it was kind of easier. You know, I would take advantage of the night, especially because my son is a handful when it comes to sleeping. I don't know if this is just my toddler or it's everybody's toddler or it's just the terrible twos, but he is so hard to put to sleep. And it's gotten to the point where sometimes we don't sleep because he's up midnight, 1 a.m. and then she wakes up to eat, and then, you know, it takes time to put her to sleep because then I have to pump and so on and so forth, and then I go to sleep. So I should have been sleeping since 10, but since he's still awake, I don't go to sleep, if that makes any sense. So since everything's in my room right now, since all of our stuff is in one room, he gets into everything. And I have my makeup here, I have my computer here, he has his books here, some of his toys here. So he's just, it's like a tornado in here, like a hurricane is happening every single night. So that's really hard. Like I've gotten down like my daughter's stuff, but my son is just struggling with going to sleep. When he doesn't nap sometimes during the day, he's so grouchy and so clingy that it's like I want to rip my hair out. So that's a struggle that I'm going with right now in terms of like myself, my self-care and things like that. But I'm still releasing everything from my body, so that's still happening. I don't think I've started my official period yet. Food, I always have to remember to eat because I am breastfeeding. I do incorporate shakes in my day just because it makes it easier for me. I can't forget to eat because then I won't have enough food for myself and I won't have enough energy to get through the day. And I feel like finally things are rolling good, you know. There is nights obviously where I don't get as much rest as other nights, but you know, during the day, like right now she's asleep and she'll sleep for a good couple of hours. So this is when I film, or this is when I do laundry, or when I clean my room. You know, I try to get things done when she's asleep, and then my son will play in the living room for a long time. It's hard when you have a toddler, I'm not gonna lie. There's times where I would go to the restroom and just cry without anybody knowing, but you do have to tell at least your partner what you're feeling, because I feel like right now at this point at a month old, I'm starting to feel very like more baby blues because I don't talk about it. And the other day, you know, I had like a little breakdown, and sorry, my voice got all cracked. I had like a little breakdown just because I had so many emotions, so many thoughts, so many things to say, and so many things that I was feeling that I wasn't letting them out. So I had like a little breakdown, and I just told my boyfriend everything that I was feeling, regardless if it was related to the baby or not, or just in life in general. And I felt like that was such a big relief. And then it was an eye opening for him, like for him to realize he needs to pay a little attention, a little bit more attention to me, or whatever the case may be, because he's such a big help. He's amazing. When I have to shower, him or my mom take care of the kids. They're such a big help. My boyfriend, I night, since I do pump, I like to sometimes leave the bottle that she drinks ready. That way at night I could just tell him to go get it and he'll bring it to me. That way I could feed baby when I have to go to the restroom, so on and so forth. So, you know, it does definitely take a village to raise kids, and I'm very grateful to have a lot of help. And, you know, I don't know how I would be able to do it if I didn't have any help. I would probably, at this point, be super depressed, thinking so much more differently. I do have like baby blues here and there, but I feel like right now the most like that I've ever experienced right now, because with my son I feel like I didn't really experience that, and I feel like because it was just me and him, and it was so much more easier. You know, they say with the second one you already know what to do, and things are going to be so much smoother, and it's not, especially if you're going to have a toddler at the same time. That's definitely something to think about. Yeah, other than that, life is busy, it's crazy, but it's definitely a blessing. And, you know, with all the help that you can get is amazing. You know, even with people bringing food, or people coming over to see how you are, or, you know, when they message you, how are you, how's the baby, you know, it feels good. It means that people care, and it makes you feel good, you know what I mean? So I definitely appreciate that. And yeah, everything's been great. Other than that, I just had my birthday yesterday, so I'm very grateful that I'm able to spend another year and now with, you know, my two beautiful kids. And life is great. You know, it's a struggle, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was just all over the place, you know, but that's how my life is right now. And even when you're in the shower, like even when I was in the shower, I felt like I was still not at peace because I can hear her crying, or I can hear him crying, or they need something. And when I feel like when they're newborns, and if you're a mom in general, you know what I'm talking about, where your mind is always thinking about your kids and your mind never shuts off ever when it comes to your kids. And I feel like, I don't know if that's normal, I don't know if I'm the only one that experiences that, but even when I go to the store really quick, do that. I do, you know, tell my boyfriend, like, you know what, I need a breather, I'm gonna go pump gas, we need gas, or I'm gonna go get my son's milk if he needs milk. Or I feel like I started doing that more with this time around than with my son, so I feel like I needed to get out. And then since we don't live alone, I also feel like there's so many personalities, so sometimes it's too much, and you know, you need to breathe outside. And since I haven't taken my baby out, I was in my cuarentena, I was like, damn, you know, like, what do I do? You know, I have to get out of the house. So I would just take a breather and then go do that for the meantime. That's pretty much all I have to share in terms of the first couple of weeks. It's definitely a struggle, and it's definitely something to experience. And if you're going through depression or anxiety or anything like that, talk to somebody. Don't be afraid to say anything. Talk to your friends, you know, just having friends over, or people ask you how you're doing, or to simply come over and bring food, you know, let them know. Don't be shy about it. Definitely speak out about it so you don't feel alone. And that's something that I've learned this time around. Definitely don't be afraid to say anything, to ask for help. That doesn't make you an unfit mother, or it doesn't make you unresponsible. You know, you shouldn't feel guilty about it. Like, it's okay, you know, you just had a baby and things are crazy and babies are a handful, and if you have other kids, you know, it could be a lot. So I think that's pretty much all I have to share, because then I am gonna start rambling and I'm gonna start crying and things are gonna get crazy here. But other than that, I am so very blessed and I'm grateful, and I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys are all doing okay and great and amazing. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.